I'm Veronica Dan Ikboy. Joining me this morning is Theophilus Ilama. Theophilus.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good, it's Friday.
Well, I didn't want to say that because
the work continues.
Work continues
into the weekend.
So yes,
but it doesn't stop a lot of us from going outside, though.
Well, you can still catch the fun you want to catch on Friday and still feel relaxed, okay? Because the weekends are here. But then the reality is.
You're coming to work.
All right, we have an array of issues we will be looking at this morning. Of course, we'll be touching on some critical issues that have to do with the skin. And then we're also going to look at developments around persons who are retired, their health status, and what can be done. And then definitely we'll be looking at this matter of climate change. We saw how flooded Lagos was just 2 days ago when it rained heavily. And that is where we will begin this morning. The rains are indeed here, and already many areas have been experiencing flooding due to the heavy downpour. The federal government is warning states and local government areas to brace up for even more flooding as the country enters the peak of the rainy season. The Minister of Water Resources and Sanitation, Professor Joseph Zev, who said this on Thursday in Abuja, advised states to kickstart precautionary measures to prevent avoidable death and disaster. Right. And those are the pictures there on your screen. What happened across states like Lagos, where a lot of persons had to wade through the water. Some vehicles were, submerged in the floods as it is. And then we see that a lot of stagnant water channels were obviously blocked, and most of the waters weren't flowing. There were those persons who, in some area, I think it was Alakbari or somewhere, where they were living along the canal. And they said that the water isn't flowing because obviously the canal was blocked. The essence of the canal being there was, to be a channel through which this water will flow. So I think we should begin with ourselves as individuals. Everything is not about the government. Yes, government has a responsibility, but what are you doing in terms of sanitation around your environment such that the channels for water is not blocked? Even that day, we saw a video where a couple came out and threw dustbin on the water.
The Lagos State government has already gone to close down that apartment. I think it's in Solere, around the Ijesha area, because someone tweeted it.
Yes.
And put the address there.
Put the address, yes. And that was a good one, by that person.
No, but the thing is, in all of this, I think there's one thing from that the Lagos State government in the past, as under Fashola had done, is to warn individuals against throwing things out. You can recall that if you're going out now and you have a trash, or maybe you've eaten something, or you've taken sachet water, many people don't throw it anyhow because of that mindset we have of Lagos. But as it is,
that mindset has changed.
It has actually changed because implementing a lot of policies has become a problem in this country. And so, like the government is saying, expect more floods. We should, like you have said, look inwards. Throwing dirt outside your car or just coming out to throw a huge drum of dirt.
Because you see flood and you feel that the flood
it goes somewhere else to stay.
Yeah.
And so if it gets there, the water doesn't flow again. And so it affects the communities and moves to other communities. And before you know it, it's ransacking homes and all of that. Many people have suffered this situation just recently when the rains were heavy in Lagos. And it's quite bad and annoying that this is happening over time, and yet we don't see the fact that we as individuals are supposed to take care of our environment. Don't allow those throwing of dustbins in the canal or on the roadside. It affects
Channels
everybody.
Meant for the
free flow of water. It affects everybody.
That's the essence why we have them. It's not a point where you throw dustbins.
Dustbins everywhere.
That's on the one hand. And I think that more needs to be done in terms of creating awareness that climate change is here.
True.
We must understand that as much as things are changing. We are seeing this change. We must also take responsibility, which is why we began from the aspect of we as individuals first taking responsibility. Government has a role to play. We saw a road just now in one of the videos that was broken already as a result of the impact of the floods, and people were still passing. That's dangerous.
Very dangerous.
And so government, on the other hand, must take responsibility of whoever is carrying out projects on behalf of government to ensure that these people deliver what is climate friendly as it is. And we hear government saying that people should move, those who are on the lowlands that are being affected by flood should move to highlands. But then what are the measures put in place by state governments, which is why the federal government is saying states need to begin to take responsibility to provide for those who are the lowlands such that these persons have a safe space. The responsibility of the subnationals is to take care of people. They are the closest. They are closer to the people than the federal government as it is. We know local government is there. But then they can work hand in glove with the local government to see how they can move this persons.
But you see, the problem is, we're talking about federal government and local government working hand in glove. But after all of this, we have next year. What are the plans to mitigate these kinds of situations?
That's on the long term.
That's on the long term, but we'll still come back here and still say these things about flooding everywhere.
Well, we'll need to keep reminding governments, whether we like it or not, that's our duty. And we must put the government on its toes. Recall 2012, we recall 2022, we saw the floods everywhere.
Everywhere,
we are still
every
talking
year.
about it. So government needs to begin to up its game to ensure that they deliver what is necessary for every individual so they can be safe from the floods.
Truly.
Let's quickly bring you Denise's update at this time. Now, going by latest reports on the UK election and results so far, the Labour Party is in the lead and has gotten